What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the overall markets. I'm going to talk about some very, very key levels to watch for as time progresses. What's happening with Donald Trump's policies is that's affecting the market to some extent, not to mention some big things going on with all these different charts. But just know that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposits $2,000, and you're guaranteed 30 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY in uninvested cash. This offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with this market. So as far as NIO is going, I just want to mention that we have a nice double bottom right over here that's looking quite decent. We're also holding our key supports. I do also want to mention that we're above our 4.42 area, our 50 EMA, which is a good sign, especially considering that we have these gaps above. And we have a bullish looking daily candlestick, which typically signifies even more upside. But whether or not that happens depends on the market and some big news I want to talk about. So let's talk about the news first. Then I'll break down all these different charts. The first thing is that NIO did put on their Twitter page. They are wishing everyone a very, very happy Women's Day. So I do want to wish you guys a happy Women's Day as well. And then on top of this, I do want to mention that it's also daylight savings. So I hope you guys remember to push your times forward by 1 hour, at least in the USA. But just keep that in mind. It's very important to give recognition to women and everyone else who is leading this country in a lot of different ways. I also want to say that NIO is doing a great job of giving lots of recognition to their community, and they're continuing to grow as time goes on with more expansion plans. We had some news coming out about their power swap stations opening in different Middle Eastern countries. And that's just the beginning, at least for this. And that's part of why we saw this big pop last week. And I think that there's going to be potential for this to continue as we saw more liquidity being grabbed here. And because we're making a higher low here, there's a good chance we do try to continue this. Now, there is something that makes things a little bit more complicated, right? We had Donald Trump imposing more tariffs on different countries. He wanted to impose a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico. In the beginning, that's what was happening on March 4th. March 5th comes in and gives a 1-month exemption for many of these tariffs impacting Canada and Mexico, especially in the auto industry. And then for the 6th of March, a couple of days ago, he postponed the tariffs from Mexico and some imports on Canada by 1 month after having a very important conversation with, these different countries. So keep that in mind. These tariffs are used as a negotiation tactic by Trump, and that's, sometimes they're delayed, sometimes he wants to reinstate them. That's what's causing a lot of uncertainty for the markets, and that's what's causing a lot of big moves. Now, March 12th is going to be the next date to which we have something else coming out. That's about 3 days from now. The Trump administration is looking to revive policies enacted throughout his presidency to include a 25% tariff on all steel imports set on March 12th. They also plan to raise the original 10% tariffs on aluminum to match the 25% duty on the tariff. So that's some big news that's coming out. This is going to be affecting all kinds of different countries out there. This will be affecting like Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, Japan, Mexico, South Korea, and the list goes on. Many European countries, especially. So once again, guys, each of the countries will now adhere to the 25% standard tariff on these imports starting March 12th. Now, not a guarantee entirely, because remember, Donald Trump can sometimes negotiate, have different deals that are made that could delay the tariffs or even cause changes here and there. So you have to keep that in mind, that this does not mean that all the tariffs are just going to magically be imposed forever. There could be changes that also come later on. For now, we're just going to be looking at that date. Now, there's also some news that Jerome Powell is also waiting to see how these tariffs end up unwinding, and the Fed is not in a hurry to be cutting or raising rates. They're being very, very patient for the time being as a result of this, and that's what the Fed is doing. They're just waiting to see how things are going. They're not in a rush to cut on rates, at least just yet. We could enter a phase like that if we start to see things breaking in the economy, but for now, we're not really there, according to Jerome Powell. He's saying that the Fed is going to be very, very patient and wait and see how these tariffs unfold. Now, I also want to add that tomorrow is going to be Monday, March 10th. Just know that consumer inflationary expectations come out for the 10th. And besides that, there's nothing else that's too crazy. On Tuesday, we do have some JOLTS job data, but we'll see how that goes. But that's all we're seeing, at least for now. To add on to this, we have some retail. We have like Oracle, Kohl's, many other companies announcing earnings for the week. Nothing too crazy. And last but not least, the market remains at extreme fear. There's still extreme fear all over the place as the put to call option ratios go up and etc. For now, Fear is what's dictating this market. Now, despite that, we had so much selling in the markets for the last couple of days that it's very easy to think that we should see some kind of rebound if we hold some key supports. And that could be a little bit more positive for NIO and open the doors of the possibility of this trying to see a rebound up towards these gap fills. If we get a hold above our 20 and 50 EMAs, I'm looking for an attempt to get back up towards that 4.8 area. There is potential in this. Now, for SPY, there's good news and bad news, okay? The bad news is that, as you guys could tell, we've been making lower highs and lower lows for quite a while. But the good news is we held our 200 EMA, right? We had this big dump, okay? Not the best news. But then we got bought back up with Jerome Powell's speech. And as of right now, we're holding support. So if we get another dip move, if we can make a higher low, as long as we don't lose this 5, 6, 8 area, as long as we don't close around there, as long as we just try to bounce, this could be looking for an attempt to see a rebound back up to where this yellow trend line is towards 580. And if we could break that, we're looking for an attempt to reverse, right? I'll be watching that very closely. Some kind of move like this, as long as we make a higher low, as long as we don't end up losing this EMA, or even if we do dip below it, as long as we end up getting some kind of like bounce back above our EMA, kind of like what we did on Friday, right? We dipped below this, but then we bounced, buyers defended it. So if we see a reaction like that, then we could be looking for a move back up at least temporarily. And that could be what we see at least going into next week, a temporary rebound like move, which is not guaranteed to last forever. It's just a temporary move. On the QQQ, we also closed technically just barely above our 200 EMA, the red line at 490. We held that. So if we do see a dip move and we bounce, if we make a higher low, we could be looking for an attempt to get back up towards 500. There's a good chance it does attempt that. The Russell 2000, bullish looking daily close. We could be looking for an attempt for 208. We need to break this trend line to really start pushing, so there could be a small attempt right there. ES is also trying to rebound. I want to see this get back above 58.25 for this thing to really start pushing. Could be a small push coming. For NQ, we closed above 20,000, which is a good sign. We're also holding this blue trend line. That could signify an attempt to get back up to our 200, around 20,600. I could be looking for that very, very soon. Bitcoin's been dipping quite a bit, especially after some new news came out. It was kind of like a buy the rumor, sell the news event with the reserve news that was signed by Trump. Might dip back down to either this low right here around 81,000, if not back down to about 77,000. So it's going to be coming back down to one of those levels before we see an attempt to rebound, but we're going to be watching that very closely. We have this previous resistance becoming support as well in case 77,000 fails us. But I do see a little bit more downside coming, and we'll see if we get a rebound after that. For other stocks such as Nvda, we dumped quite a bit and we're seeing some buyers defending. So I want to see this try to hold above our support and try to get back above 115. If we do have a gap to fall on the daily all the way back up to about 117, we could be looking for an attempt to get back up there. So keep that in mind. There is a daily gap on it. As long as we don't lose like 110 or so, we could retest them. As long as we hold above that, I think there's going to be an attempt to rebound for like 115 to 117. Tesla's also looking a bit more bullish. We have a nice divergence here. We're watching to see if we could get a rebound. If we get back above 260, we're looking for an attempt for 270 plus. As long as there's a higher low, we're looking for 270, then eventually this trend line around 282. For Apple, I think Apple's doing a decent job at holding up, at least for now on the daily chart. I want to see it reclaim 240, though, for it to get back up to where this gap is around like the mid 240s. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Otherwise, we're just kind of stuck for now. So we'll give this some time, especially since we're making higher lows, and this could eventually try to push higher for 242, then eventually that gap fill for 246. So just keep that in mind. For coin is looking bullish, at least on the 4-hour time frame. We're forming these wicks over here, so I think we could be looking for 225. If that breaks, we're looking for an attempt to get back up to 232. For Amazon, we are kind of stuck right here. We need to see Amazon reclaim 202 to rebound. If not, it's not going to be looking too good. We do have this big gap down here. We have a lot of gaps below, which does suggest there could be future downside. But for the time being, if we could get back above 201, there's going to be some kind of attempt to rebound that could be coming. Looking at Meta, we formed this nice looking doji-like structure, which could be looking for a nice reversal for that 650 area. It depends if we get that bounce or not, but I'm seeing some signals that suggest that. Even Microsoft is holding up nicely, forming an inverse head and shoulders. If we could get back above 403, we're looking for a bounce. I do see a test of 400. Also, as long as Google holds above 175.5, we're looking for an attempt for 180, so we'll see how that goes. Anyways, that is it for my video. Keep that in mind, guys, as the market is seeing some potential. Our 4-hour on the VIX does have this gap down here, so that's a little bit promising. There might be another dip move, but as long as the market could try to make a higher low, then I do think there's going to be an attempt to bounce that could be coming here. We do have a bullish divergence, and I think the market is due for it. But my view will change if SPY closes below or fails at 568 or 200 EMA. If we can't hold this, not going to be a good sign. So I want to see us hold this, try to see that rebound move. Anyways, that is it for my video. I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a good rest of your day. I'll be back with another upload very, very soon. And as you can tell, NIO has potential on its daily charts to try to rebound more. Look for a pullback to at least 4.38. As long as we hold that, then we could be looking for a bounce back up towards 4.62, then eventually 4.8. Nice accumulation, nice bounce are likely pending. I thank you all so much for listening. So please have a good rest of your day, and peace out.